First of all, congratulations on making it onto Survivor. That's a feat in and of itself. I know it's a disappointing ending for you, but I hope you still enjoyed your time on the show.
Absolutely. I had a blast. It was everything I thought it would be, other than going home early.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, what a great experience. If anybody out there is considering putting together a video and throwing it out and applying, do it. I thought about it for years before I finally did. I wish I'd have done it earlier. It was the greatest experience ever. Everybody should be tripping over themselves to try and get out there on that island. It's a
Yeah.
blast.
Even if you're just there for one day, it's pretty life-changing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did watching this episode help you better understand your elimination at all?
Um, well, it's always interesting to watch the side conversation. I was there, and I have no idea what's really going on. It's like so. Um, I kind of had already puzzled everything out. There were little details about you know I don't know, Savannah using my past as a ammunition as to I don't know how you get. I was a stockbroker. I must be a sociopath. I don't understand how those dots connect. But yeah, it's interesting to think. Well, any information they have, they're going to use to direct the game the way they want it to go. And maybe I should have just kind of kept my mouth shut on my past in the white collar world. And so yeah, there are things after watching the episode that I'm like, oh, okay, that's how that played out. But I, my one path forward with Juwan trying to get him to flip on Nate, I knew that was a long shot. And if we pulled it off, I think it would have been really, really cool. But I kind of thought it's a little early in the game for Juwan to be making a big move. He's sitting in a really good position. If he really feels like he's on the bottom and he really feels like he needs to make a move and mix things up, I'm gonna give him the target. I'm gonna let's do it, Juwan. This will be your big move. But I didn't have a whole lot of faith in the plan, so it wasn't a shock to me that he had flipped and had gone and told Nate the whole thing, and so I just saw it play out, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's kind of how I had assumed things played out when I was there.
And do you think that they targeted you for elimination because you shared your past about your career, or because of what they found out about Nate?
Yeah, I honestly think my white collar past was just a detail, a side note. At that point when Savannah and I had that conversation, and it was out in the open in front of everybody, we were only 3 hours away from Tribal, and at that point, Nate already knew that I was throwing his name out, and Nate was like, well, we got Matt and Jason to choose from. Jason is willing to work with us. Matt is throwing my name out. So I think he had enough pull with the tribe to say, that's all the reason I need right there. And I want it to be Matt. And everyone's like, you know what? Matt it is. There we go. Now we have a reason. So I really don't think talking about my past experience and my professional experience had anything to do with me leaving. It may have been a contributing factor if I had stayed there. If Jason had been the one to go, and now they, how Savannah was spinning it was, this guy's smarter than he's leading on. He's we got to look out for him. And I can see the thought process there. Maybe I should have just told him I don't do nothing. I'm a day laborer. I have never I've dropped out of high school. I don't know. I can't spell my own name. Probably would have been a better approach. But at the time, I'm like, yeah, let's talk about it. I got nothing to hide. I'm kind of proud of the things I've done. And of course, they're going to use it against me. I should have kept my mouth shut.
Yeah, in hindsight, do you think that you trusted Jawan's easy yes to the Nate blindside idea maybe a little too easily?
Well, so much happens out there that doesn't make the final cut. Joanne and I had a little bit of history on the journey we went on. We got friendly there. We talked a lot. Jake, Joanne, and I actually formed a quasi alliance, kind of an impromptu. Hey, let's get together at the merge and we'll work together, and nobody's going to know that we're working together. So I felt comfortable talking with Joanne gameplay, and Joanne and I went out on the boat and caught fish we were out there for 2 hours just talking, and none of that actually made the final cut. So what the viewer sees is like, why would you trust this guy? But what you don't see is we really built some rapport, and we got along famously. And I thought, you know what? There's a chance. In the back of my head, I was thinking, it doesn't make sense for him to do this. But if he really feels he's on the bottom and he's really willing to make a move and put himself on the map, let's do it, Joanne. Let's take out. And I'm running on what I saw at the immunity challenges, and then the information Joanne was feeding me. I'm thinking, well, Nate's running the show over there. Nate's, if you're on the bottom, Nate's on the top. Let's remove the top, and that'll be your big move. So I thought that the strategy had some merit, even though it was a Hail Mary. It was a long shot. I thought, if we pull it off, if it does happen, it'll be really, really cool. So I just kind of put all my eggs in that basket and ran that direction. And at the end, here I am at home and everyone else on the island. So it didn't work, but it could have, and it could have been really, really cool.
Yeah, I mean, at least you made a swing, right? But I also wonder, like, who else you talked to about this plan, because we didn't see you talk to anyone else but Joanne in the episode, but I imagine you tried to convince other people.
Yeah, how it started, we woke up on the beach, and Jason, Sophie, and I said, "What are we going to do? We got a bad mix here on this tribe swap. We got 4 Ulis. Yeah, we need to do something." And I said, "Look, I was friendly with Joanne at the journey. I might be able to get him to flip. You guys got any plans?" And they're like, "Oh, let's try it." So I took Joanne out on the boat. We talked, we fished, and I really thought this might work. So what you didn't make the edit is Jason, Sophie, Joanne, and myself were all going to write down Nate. But little did I know, Joanne and Sophie were still, Joanne was still Uli strong, and Sophie had been, taken in by them. And that's just where we were. That was what made sense. I mean, the obvious move was get rid of Ahina. We got Jason, we got Matt, pick one. That was the obvious move. So to get anything other than that to happen was gonna be crazy, but it would have been fun. And it didn't happen. They played it safe, they played it smart, and I went home.
Yeah. And did you see? Well, let me ask you this question first. What's so wrong about Sandra's anyone but me strategy? It did help her win twice. Was that just a line that you said as you were trying to stage a Nate blindside?
Yeah, that's, as a fan of the show, watching, I'm like, how can you go in there and that's your strategy? But it obviously worked. It worked twice, as Jeff pointed out to me in Tribal. Yeah. But I never thought in a million years I would go on Survivor and those words would come out of my mouth. But I thought, I really don't have a whole lot of options. I toyed around with trying to make a fake idol and trying to cause some sort of confusion. I thought momentarily about, hey, let's write down Jason. This is why you need to get rid of Jason. And I thought, you know what? No, I love Jason. That's not gonna be my play. I'm not gonna be the guy that's flipping on my buddy. And I thought there's a possibility that this works. And so I went the direction of, hey, let's all write down Nate's name. But when Nate said, dude, you were throwing people under the bus, I said, how so, Nate? I didn't throw anybody. He said, you said anyone but me. I absolutely did, and I don't consider that throwing Jason or Sophie under the bus. You got options. Pick one of them. I'm not campaigning against them, but this is why you should keep me, was my argument. And I said, anybody but me. It became my strategy. So, Sandra, I apologize for for thinking that what you were doing was not playing Survivor. When you're there in the moment, sometimes that's absolutely playing Survivor. And I did it. I'm a little Sandra's little minion, following in her footsteps.
Did you see her Instagram post about it?
No, I did not. What did she say?
She basically said, she was like, here I am having a blast in Hawaii, and then I learned that someone's talking about me on Survivor. And she was just like, my strategy works twice, is essentially what she said.
Yeah.
But I still question whether, like, at the point when you were talking to Nate before Tribal saying anyone but me, had you already been planning the Nate blindside? Or was that like before that idea came to you? Like, where in the timeline did that conversation fall? Because where it is in the episode, it seems like it was a line that you were just saying to Nate to try and get him off the scent of the plan you had cooking against him.
Yeah, absolutely. The timeline you saw last night is accurate. That's how it happened. I was already trying to get Sophie, Jason, and Juwan to write down Nate's name. So I was trying to play smokescreen. And even when Tribal was imminent, when we knew that, hey, it's going to be in the next 10 or 20 minutes, they're gonna tell us, get your stuff, we're going to Tribal. I actually like whispered to Nate, hey, whose name should I write? What do you want me to do? Do you want me to write Jason or Sophie? And he's just kind of, he wasn't good at hiding the fact that he kind of knew that I was talking. He was a little bit abrasive, and I kind of started thinking, this isn't going to end well for me, because Nate's like, write who you want, I don't care. I was like, because I was trying to talk to him. Who do you want me to write? I'm with you. I'm a number. Tell me whose name to write. And he got a little bit abrasive immediately before Tribal, and I thought, he knows that I'm throwing his name out there. So
yeah, I mean, understandable that he might feel a certain way about that. You know what I mean? If he heard that you were trying to stage a blind, he did hear that you're staging a blindside against him, or trying to, right?
Yeah, and that's how it goes. It's a hard game. The truth is, I would have loved to have worked with Nate. I can imagine a world where Nate, Annie, and myself, the three old people out on that island, somehow came together. If we on the together on the initial tribe, or after a swap or a merge, I think it would have been an interesting dynamic, and I think it would have really changed things, because there is a generational gap there when you're all these young guys. It's hard to assimilate into the group, and in a different universe, if things had played out differently, I would have loved to have worked with Nate, gone far with Nate, partnered with Nate. Great guy. I got nothing against him. It was just, Juwan says, I'm on the bottom. I need to mix things up. Well, Nate's on the top. This is how we're going to mix things up. And it was what I could come up with, and it didn't work. But it could have been really cool if Juwan had said, you know what, I think I will go ahead and make my big move right now. But it was too early, and I get it. And my Survivor career was cut short, and here I am. But it was a fantastic experience. Had a great time out there.
Yeah, and like I said, at least you tried to make a big swing, right? You didn't like play it safe while you were out there. You made good use of your time.
Right. And my anyone but me was kind of part of a bigger strategy, even though it was a Hail Mary. It was part of trying to make something else happen.
Yeah. And now you understand Sandra's game a little bit better.
I do.
Yeah.
Respect, Sandra.